So this video is a result of a recent poll on my community page where I asked you guys what you wanted to see next, and over 40% of you voted for a video on how to use the Canon M50 to create cinematic video. And today we've wrapped it up into a tidy top 10 tips video that will hopefully help you to create more cinematic footage with your Canon M50. So the first point is that you need to shoot video manually, not in auto mode. Auto mode allows the camera to decide all the settings based on your available light, but we want to control our exposure manually for the best cinematic experience and not let the camera decide the settings for us. So make sure you select manual mode for your video. For that film look, we will need to shoot at 24 frames per second. Why, I hear you ask? Because traditionally film was shot at 24 frames per second and our brains have been conditioned to associate that frame rate with movies. And although this is slowly starting to change, if you want that associated film look with your video, then you will want to shoot at 24 FPS. Slow motion footage always seems to be used in cinematic videos, and for parts of our video where we want slow motion, we actually need to change our Canon M50 frame rate from 24 frames per second to 60 frames per second and then slow things down in post-production. Fourth on the list is to select 1080 Full HD as our filming option. You will notice that there is a 4K option at 24 frames per second on the M50. However, this 4K has a heavy crop and you can't use the dual pixel autofocus. So for our cinematic settings, we're going to stick to using that 1080 Full HD option, which I think is pretty great on the Canon M50. The camera picture style is next on the list. Unfortunately, there isn't a log option to film with on the Canon M50, but you do have options to change up your picture style. And I'd encourage you to use the neutral picture setting, which actually gives you some wiggle room to color grade later on in post-production. And this is a great place to mention that if you haven't done so already, don't forget to add yourself to the KaiCreative Facebook and Instagram feeds, where you can stay up to date with all of our photography sessions, video productions, short films, camera reviews, and other creative happenings. And also, if you're a creative looking for unique music for your video productions, then I wanted to quickly let you know that Audiio, which is the music licensing platform that I use, is currently offering $100 off their lifetime music membership. So if any of that interests you at all, find my link and the save code down in the description box below. Our sixth point is to have a shallow depth of field, which means having a blurry background. And a lot of this has to do with having a fast lens. And that means having a large aperture or low f-stop numbers like f-stop 1.4, 1.8, 2.8. You will see these numbers on your lens and it will tell you how wide your aperture can open. And really, the lower the number, the blurrier you can make your background. So I would encourage you to investigate and invest in lenses with fast apertures. Using ND filters is our seventh point. ND filters act like sunglasses but for your camera, and this helps us to keep our shutter speed set and our aperture open and therefore have a blurry background in bright light. In our video shoot, we actually use the new Freewell magnetic VND 2 to 5 stop filter, and a great thing about the Freewell VND is that it also comes with a 1/8 mist filter, and this mist filter adds a vintage look to the footage, helping to add that cinematic feel. And if you want to learn more about ND filters and VNDs and how they can improve your photos and videos, I'll leave a link to my recent Freewell VND review video down in the description box below. The next point on our list to help you make the footage look more cinematic on your Canon M50 is to use smooth, controlled movement. No handheld shots here. For our videos, we use the DJI Ronin S gimbal for our outside shoot and a Zeppelin motorized slider for our inside video shoot. Adding in film grain to our footage is the next tip. In the past, movies were shot using film, and this method added in what we refer to as film grain. With the advent of modern digital cameras, we no longer have that effect. And some people say that our modern footage can look too clean and too sharp. And some will argue that for a cinematic look, we want to have that film grain added back in. So adding in film grain in post-production will really help you sell that cinematic look in your films. The 10th point is a practical effect, and it's about adding atmosphere to your scenes. You can actually use a product called Atmosphere Aerosol Spray, which is basically fog or haze in a can that you can spray into your scene, and it can really help define your light sources as well as add atmosphere to your films. Now, we've done our 10 points already, but an extra point is that all cinematic videos seem to have black bars. So add in those black bars to the top and tail of your videos and make them look more like a movie. So those are my top 10 tips to help you make your M50 footage look more cinematic. Now, I do appreciate that it was a quick fire video today, and the reason why is because while I was creating this video script, everything seemed to balloon out into this massive monstrosity of information. So what I decided to do was actually create a more detailed Skillshare class on creating cinematic video, specifically on the Canon M50. And in that class, I will show you step by step how to set up your camera. I will also go into more detail on how to edit in Premiere Pro. So if you're interested in that detailed Skillshare class, make sure you check out the link in the description box below. As always, if you found today's video useful, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell for notifications. So that's it from me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. All that I've got left to say is stay creative, stay safe, imagine, implement, and inspire. And I'll see you next time on KaiCreative.